Welcome to the Cenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
Okay, so you know how life can feel like this crazy whirlwind, like you're constantly juggling deadlines, maybe trying to absorb a ton of information for school, or just keeping everything from falling apart?
Totally. It's like a nonstop roller coaster sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And through it all, our brains are working overtime, right? They're the ultimate multitaskers.
For sure.
And we've got to keep those incredible organs in tip-top shape, firing on all cylinders.
Couldn't agree more. It's essential.
Which brings us to what we're diving deep into today. Omega-3s.
Omega-3s, yes. Fascinating stuff.
Specifically, how supplementing with omega-3s can have some serious benefits for our brains. We're talking boosting your focus, memory, mood, and even building up your brain's resilience for the long haul.
All incredibly important aspects of brain health. And I think before we jump into all the amazing things omega-3s can do, it's important to take a step back and really understand what they are.
Yeah, good point. Break it down for us.
At their core, omega-3s are what we call essential fatty acids.
Essential. Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Well, essential means our bodies can't actually produce them on their own. We have to get them from somewhere else.
So, like through our diet or supplements?
Exactly. It's like they're these crucial building blocks that our bodies need but can't make, so we have to supply them. And they play a vital role in how our brains are structured and how they function.
So when we talk about omega-3s, it's not just one thing, right?
No, not at all.
I know from the research we've been looking at that there are three main types we should be aware of: EPA, DHA, and ALA. Can you walk us through those a little bit?
Absolutely. So let's start with EPA. That stands for eicosapentaenoic acid.
Okay, EPA.
You can think of EPA as a powerful regulator of inflammation in the body. And that's important because it can influence things like mood and overall cellular health.
Interesting. Inflammation is definitely something you hear a lot about these days.
For sure. It plays a role in so many processes in the body.
Okay, so that's EPA. What about DHA?
DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, is a major structural component of our brains. It's especially concentrated in what's called the gray matter.
Gray matter. Okay, and remind me, what is gray matter again?
Gray matter is packed with neuron cell bodies and dendrites. It's where all the information processing and communication is happening in the brain. And DHA is key for building and maintaining those structures.
Gotcha. So DHA is like the building material for our brain cells.
You could say that, yeah. It's also an important part of our red blood cells. Then we have ALA, alpha-linolenic acid.
Okay, ALA. And where do we typically find that one?
ALA is mostly found in plant-based sources, like flax seeds or walnuts. Now, here's the thing. Our bodies can convert some ALA into EPA and DHA.
Oh, interesting. So we can get those other types even from plant sources.
Exactly. But there's a catch. The efficiency of that conversion process can be a little unpredictable. It really varies from person to person.
I see. So even if you're eating plenty of ALA-rich foods, you might not be getting as much EPA or DHA as you think.
That's a good point to consider.
Okay, so I think we've got a pretty good foundation on what omega-3s are and the different types. But what we really want to do in this deep dive is unpack all this information we've gathered about how omega-3s impact brain health.
That's the exciting part.
Yeah, and make it as clear as possible so our listeners can walk away understanding how to, use this knowledge in their own lives.
Absolutely, that's the goal.
And one thing that really jumped out at me is that the influence of omega-3s starts much earlier than you might think. Like way before we're even born.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it, right? The impact these essential fatty acids have during pregnancy and a child's early years is really remarkable.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing. So let's zoom in on that for a second.
Okay, so we know that DHA, that structural component we talked about, is incredibly important during pregnancy. And it's not just randomly floating around. DHA is a core part of the membranes of our brain cells.
Okay, so what makes it so important for those cell membranes?
Well, DHA has this unique flexibility to it, and the way it's incorporated into what's called the lipid bilayer. It's thought to be crucial for maintaining the right amount of fluidity.
Fluidity. Interesting word choice. What does that actually mean for the brain?
Well, think of it like this. The brain needs to be flexible, right? It's constantly sending signals, making new connections, adapting. And that fluidity that DHA helps create, it's what allows for optimal neural signaling and those new connections to form.
I see. So it's like without enough DHA, those signals might not be getting through as efficiently, and those connections might not form as readily.
Exactly. And the research backs this up. Clinical trials have shown that when mothers have adequate DHA levels during pregnancy, their babies tend to have better development of neural pathways.
Wow, so those pathways that are essentially the communication highways in the brain are stronger and more developed thanks to DHA?
That's right. And it goes even further than that. The eyes and visual system also seem to develop better with sufficient DHA intake during pregnancy. And then as these children grow up into childhood and adolescence, they tend to perform better cognitively.
So what a mother eats during pregnancy can literally shape how her child's brain develops and functions. That's incredible. And I know we also saw some information suggesting that higher omega-3 intake during pregnancy might even be linked to a reduced risk of developmental delays in children.
Right. And it might even lead to enhanced learning and behavior patterns in those early years. It really highlights how vital these nutrients are during those crucial windows of development.
Absolutely. Makes you realize just how impactful those early influences can be.
It's a powerful reminder for sure. Okay, so we've talked about the beginning of life, but what about later on? As we get older, lots of us start experiencing those, typical signs of aging when it comes to our brains.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. You start forgetting things more often, feel a little foggy, or like your focus just isn't as sharp as it used to be.
Exactly, and that can be really frustrating. But the good news is that omega-3s might be able to help with some of those cognitive changes that happen as we age.
I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Well, the research suggests that omega-3s can actually improve cognitive performance.
Okay, so not just slowing down the decline, but actually making things better.
That's the idea. And what's really interesting is that studies have shown a direct correlation between higher EPA and DHA levels and things like faster mental processing.
Like how quickly you can think and react.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And not just that, but also better memory recall.
So you're less likely to space out and forget what you were just doing.
Yes, it can help with that kind of thing. And another big one is an enhanced attention span, which is huge these days, right?
Oh, absolutely. In this world of constant distractions, being able to stay focused is like a superpower.
Right. And all this, the faster thinking, better memory, increased focus in country, it can really make a difference in how well we perform in school or at work.
That makes total sense. So it's like omega-3s can help us level up our cognitive game no matter what stage of life we're in.
You got it. And I think it's also important to mention that on the flip side, having low levels of omega-3s seems to be connected to more noticeable signs of cognitive decline as we age.
So it's like a double-edged sword. Enough omega-3s could help keep your brain sharp, while not getting enough might speed up that decline.
Precisely. It's all about supporting brain health throughout our entire lives.
That's a good way to put it. Okay, so we've talked about brain development in those early years, and then cognitive function as we age. But there's another huge piece of the puzzle when it comes to brain health, right?
So we're talking about mood, right?
Yes. Mood, emotional well-being, how we handle stress, all of that plays a big role.
Absolutely. And, it's fascinating to think about the fact that our brains are made up of almost 60% fat. And guess what one of the most important types of fat is?
Omega-3s.
Bingo. So it makes sense that omega-3s would have a big influence on our mood and emotions.
Yeah, it's hard to feel your best when your brain isn't functioning optimally. And what we've been reading suggests that omega-3s might actually act as natural mood stabilizers.
And that's one way to think about it. Research suggests that supplementing with omega-3s could potentially help reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. And they may even be beneficial in managing conditions like ADHD and bipolar disorder. And then there's the impact on stress resilience.
Ah, yes, stress, everyone's favorite topic. So how do omega-3s help us deal with that?
Well, they seem to boost our ability to cope with stress and just bounce back from challenging situations. So it's like they're helping us build up our emotional armor, so to speak.
I love that analogy, emotional armor. We can all use a little more of that, right?
Right. And, when it comes to mood and emotional well-being, EPA really shines. That anti-inflammatory action we talked about earlier, it plays a key role here.
So remind me, what's the link between inflammation and mood?
Well, scientists are finding more and more evidence that inflammation in the brain, even low-grade chronic inflammation, is linked to mood disorders. So by reducing inflammation, EPA could help create a more balanced and stable emotional state.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like taking care of the physical environment of the brain to help it function better emotionally. Okay, so we've covered early development, cognitive function, and mood. But as we get older, there are also concerns about more serious cognitive decline, like Alzheimer's disease.
That's a really important area to address, and it's one that's getting a lot of attention in research.
Yeah, either personally or for loved ones, it's something many people worry about as they age. So what does the research say about omega-3s and their potential role in protecting against cognitive decline?
Well, we know that our brains naturally experience some wear and tear over time.
Yeah, just like any other part of our body, right?
Exactly, and as that happens, our brains become more susceptible to things like oxidative stress and inflammation, which we know can damage cells and contribute to memory loss. But the encouraging news is that studies have shown that consistently taking omega-3 supplements might actually have a protective effect on the aging brain.
Okay, so like shielding it from some of that damage.
In a way, yes. We're talking about potentially slowing down the progression of Alzheimer's disease and reducing the overall risk of dementia. And some research even suggests that omega-3s might help maintain the volume of certain brain regions that are crucial for memory and decision-making.
So those areas that tend to shrink as we age, omega-3s might help preserve them.
That's what some of the research is suggesting. And the really compelling part is that there's a direct link between higher DHA and EPA levels in older adults and healthier brain scans, along with better performance on memory tests.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So even later in life, omega-3s can still have a significant positive impact on our brains.
It's never too late to start prioritizing brain health.
That's a good message to remember. Okay, so we've talked about how omega-3s can benefit different age groups, from babies to older adults. But there's one more area I want to touch on that affects everyone, no matter their age, and that's focus and attention.
Focus. Such a precious commodity in today's world.
Tell me about it. Whether it's kids struggling to concentrate in school or adults trying to stay on task at work with a million distractions popping up, attention span and impulse control are definitely challenges these days.
You're not wrong. And you know, what's really interesting is that people with ADHD often have lower levels of omega-3s.
So there could be a connection there.
It seems likely. And the research on supplementation is pretty promising. Studies have shown that taking EPA and DHA can actually improve task performance. Like, people are able to stay focused for longer periods and get more done.
So it's not just about feeling more focused, it's about actually seeing results in your work or study.
Exactly. And not only that, but omega-3s can also help reduce impulsivity and restlessness.
So you're less likely to get sidetracked or jump from one thing to another without finishing anything.
That's the idea. And those benefits aren't just limited to kids with ADHD. Adults can experience them too. Everyone can benefit from improved focus and mental energy throughout the day.
It's like omega-3s give your brain that extra boost it needs to stay on track.
That's a good way to think about it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Brain development, cognitive function, mood, focus. But there's another piece of the puzzle that often gets overlooked when we talk about brain health, and that's sleep.
Sleep, absolutely. You can't underestimate the importance of good sleep for a healthy brain.
Couldn't agree more. But what does sleep have to do with omega-3s?
Well, it turns out omega-3s, particularly DHA, play a role in how our bodies produce melatonin.
Melatonin, that's the hormone that helps regulate our sleep-wake cycles, right?
Yep, that's the one. So if you're getting enough omega-3s, it could actually contribute to better sleep.
Makes sense. And we all know how crucial good sleep is. It affects everything.
It really does. And the research suggests that when omega-3s help improve sleep quality, you see all these positive ripple effects.
Like what?
Well, people tend to feel more alert in the morning. Their emotional balance is better, they make clearer decisions, and even their ability to learn and retain information improves.
Wow, so many benefits from just getting a good night's sleep. And I'm sure many of our listeners can relate to feeling fatigued, especially if they're not sleeping well.
Oh yeah, fatigue is a common complaint these days. And increasing your omega-3 intake could be a natural way to combat that.
Sounds like a much better solution than relying on caffeine all the time.
Definitely a healthier approach.
Okay, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, and that's inflammation. We talked about how EPA, especially from fish oil, acts as a potent anti-inflammatory.
Right, and when it comes to brain health, that's really important because chronic inflammation, even the low-grade kind, can be a major contributor to a whole host of neurological issues.
So like that constant simmering inflammation that we might not even be aware of.
Exactly. And it can really take a toll on the brain over time.
Okay, so by reducing inflammation in the brain, what are some of the benefits we might see from omega-3s?
Well, for one, those vital neural pathways we've been talking about are better protected from damage.
So the communication highways stay clear and functional.
Yep, that's a good analogy. And then because inflammation can interfere with how brain cells talk to each other. Reducing it can help smooth out that communication, making it more efficient.
So everything runs more smoothly, and the brain can do its job better.
Right. And in the long run, reducing inflammation may help decrease the risk of lasting damage to the brain.
That's huge. It's like taking a preventative approach to brain health.
Exactly. It's about supporting the brain's natural ability to function at its best.
Okay, so we've covered so much ground today, from how omega-3s impact brain development to their potential to protect against age-related decline. We've talked about mood, focus, sleep, inflammation. It's clear that these essential fatty acids are incredibly important for our brains.
Couldn't agree more. They really are foundational for optimal brain health.
But I know a lot of our listeners might be thinking right now, okay, this all sounds great, but how much omega-3 do I actually need?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Figures? There never is there?
Nope. But there are some general guidelines that can be helpful.
Okay, let's hear them.
So, for most healthy adults, aiming for 250 to 500 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA per day is a good starting point for overall health maintenance.
Okay, so that's a good baseline.
Yeah. Now, for pregnant or breastfeeding women, the recommendation is usually at least 200 milligrams of DHA daily. That's specifically to support the baby's development.
Gotcha. Higher needs for those mamas and their little ones.
For sure. And then for folks who are specifically looking for cognitive benefits or mood support, the dosage might be more in the range of 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA.
So higher doses for targeted support.
Exactly. And of course, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian to figure out what's right for your individual needs.
Can't emphasize that enough. Personalized advice is key.
Absolutely. And one more thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes a healthcare provider might recommend a blood test to check your DHA levels.
Oh, interesting. When would that be helpful?
Well, it can be particularly useful for people who are experiencing mood disorders, memory problems, or if they have reason to believe their diet isn't providing enough omega-3s.
Makes sense. Get a clearer picture of what's going on.
Exactly. So it's not just about blindly taking supplements. It's about being informed and making choices that are right for you.
Great advice. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's safe to say that the evidence is pretty clear. Omega-3s are not just some passing health fad. They're truly essential for a healthy brain, and the benefits are backed by a ton of research.
Absolutely. From those very first moments of brain development all the way through to protecting our brains as we age, omega-3s play a vital role.
And it's not just about preventing problems down the road. Omega-3s can have a real impact on how we think and feel right now. They can help us focus better, improve our memory, boost our mood, and even sleep better.
And who doesn't want all of that? It's about feeling sharper, more energized, and more resilient in the face of life's challenges.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, we encourage you to think about how increasing your omega-3 intake could specifically benefit your brain health journey. Maybe it's about adding more omega-3 rich foods to your diet, or maybe it's talking to your doctor about whether supplementation is right for you. Ultimately, it's about making informed choices that can lead to a healthier and, in a way, a smarter way of living.
That's what it's all about. Taking charge of your health and empowering yourself with knowledge.
Well said. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Cenario Podcast. Don't forget to visit Cenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.